We're just gonna kind of look at some data based on the sets and just kind of see what feels like maybe would be good booster boxes or packs to buy right now. So yeah, let's get right into it. It's gonna be the Excel sheet we're gonna be using to actually like take a look at things and keep track of the values that each set kind of has based on the cards that are in it. Because you know, if you're looking at a set to hold, well, what gives a set value? Where it's usually chase cards that people want out of it, you know? Those chase cards will raise the value of those sealed products, especially as they go out of print, and then it becomes more difficult to get those cards and to grade those cards and to get new ones into circulation. So we're gonna kind of base that off of that. There are a lot of other people who do a very similar style to this, so this is not original just to me. You know, I'm not trying to take credit for that. But yeah, let's get into it. Let's take a look at the first set in Scarlet and Violet. This is going to be Scarlet and Violet base set. Just taking a quick scroll through the products ranked high to low on price value. We're going to see that this set does not seem to be doing super great. There's some really cool cards in here. I really like some of the art styles, but just looking on the first page, just not super strong. Let's take a look at the booster boxes real quick. Sealed booster boxes, unopened, right about $100, shipping included. In the last year, the lowest point I'm seeing is $73, so that's a negative 23% based on the year. And then we're right around 95, 96, so you know, it seems to have stayed exactly the same in the last year. Not a super strong grower as of yet. That doesn't mean that it won't at some point. But yeah, let's take a look at some of the top rated cards in this set. Okay, so it's looking like the top card in the set right now is Gardevoir EX, the 24/5 out of 198. It's going for a market price of $25. The other prices you see here are kind of they're usually damaged cards that you see going for like $15, so you want to look more at the market price of each of the cards. So let's take a look at Gardevoir. Yeah, $24, lightly played hollow foil over the last year. It looks like it gained some value at one point, a little bit more than where it is, up to about $30. And it started at 21, and we are currently at 25. So yeah, it's held its value, kind of just like the booster box. Not really much growth, but it seems to. Let's look at the second card in the set, Miriam. 251 out of 198. This card is a supporter trainer. A year ago, we started out at $43. We are currently at $26, and the lowest point was 22, it looks like. Not a super strong grower, this one, yeah. So Miraidon is number 3. Let's take a look. Really pretty card. I really like the art on this one. Really cool. As of a year ago, we started out at about $19. We're currently at $17. The lowest point was 13. We've lost about 12% over the last year. So yeah, the set not super strong. We're gonna skip forward to the Excel sheet real quick. And the information for the first row. So let's just go over it. I think this is a really solid way of just kind of not saying, okay, this is the you know, all end all be all, but like you can get kind of a feel of what a set's valued at based on what the top couple of cards are going for and how many cards you actually have going for any real value. So let's take a look. So cards over $50, 0. No cards over $50 in this set in a raw. Cards over $20, 2. Cards over $10, 11. Now, if we take a look at the PSA 10 prices of each of our top 3, you can see our highest is at 110, lowest is at 91. Let's take a look at each of those really quick, just what they've done over time. Started out at about 555. And we're down to 110. Wow. That's a big drop. If you invested in this back in March of 23, wow, you would be hurting. you'd be hurting real bad. On to the next. Started out at, wow, 1,057 in a PSA 10. And we are down to 105. That's a 90% loss. That's a 90% loss. That one would really hurt too. On to the last one. This one has kind of a weird bell to it. We started out, it seems what, it won't even, 245. Because 245. So I started off at 245. We're down at 82. That's a much more acceptable loss in my eyes. I mean, I wouldn't want to be sitting on this card at this point and then dropping it at this point. That just absolutely would not be what I would be thinking or wanting. But yeah, out of all three of these, the lowest value one has actually performed the best. But in my opinion, out of all three of them, we're gonna jump right into the second set. This is Paldea Evolved. So just taking a quick scroll through this one, let's take a look at the booster box really fast. We are at 135.36. For the year, we started out at 99 and we are up to almost 140. This one has done quite a bit better than the base set as of now. And also, as we start to take a look at some of the better cards in here, you can immediately see from market price 110, 71, 45. This set has done a lot more strongly. It has more cards that people actually want, that they're gonna actually want to open up packs to get to. And that also translates over into the PSA side, as we'll see. So let's take a look at the Excel sheet really quick. In this set, we have 2 cards over 50, we have 6 over 20, and we have 18 cards over $10, as opposed to 11 for the set before, 2 and 0. Much stronger set. There's a lot more to be desired in this one. If you were between these two, it's pretty clear which one you'd probably want to pick up right now. Let's also take a look at the PSA 10s. And I'm sure you can see by the Excel sheet there, they're kind of crazy. The Magikarp alone is up at a PSA 10. It's up at $605 for this Magikarp. And it's beautiful. It's an absolutely awesome card. In raw version, you know, you're looking at over $100 just in the raw. And over the last year since it came out, it's kind of just had a steady growth. We started out at $50 for a near mint. We had a peak at $149, and we are currently sitting at about $120, $113. Yeah, this card has done pretty solid. You can see the same in the PSA 10. PSA 10's only gone up though. It hasn't really gone down much. You know, you're looking at a very expensive card in PSA 10, but it's also a very modern set. So if you look at other cards like this that had, you know, meteoric rises, some of them stay up there and then they end up holding that set up. You know, this could be a card that you might look at like kind of like a Moonbreon a little bit. It could be one that does something like that. You don't know. You never know. You know, it's hard to predict markets. But this card is done very strongly. Let's go on to the number 2, the Raichu. Raichu is right now over $60 in a raw. In the last year, we saw it start out, wow, down at $17 it started out. And it has gone all the way up to $45. Wow, it had a low point of $15.48. So really, it didn't go down that much. Really cool card, really pretty art. Let's take a look at the PSA 10 chart. Yeah, we're looking about 245. Really well-valued card. Features a fan favorite. We started out about 157 on launch, and we've kind of just continued up. There's a little bit of a dip here, but you can see that at other points here too. Hard to predict what will happen. Could keep going up, could go down. This Paldea Evolved could be the next Evolving Skies. You never know. On to the last card. This is a Trainer Iono. Over $65, $67 in a raw card. Over the year, this one has not done great. This, to be honest, I'm not a big fan of trainer cards. That's not my personal thing. I don't collect those. And it seems like there's a lot of people who were into them for a second, and it has just gone down. And it seems to be that way with a lot of these. If you look at the raw price on these top 3 cards, the Iono is more in a raw than the Raichu. But in a PSA 10, the Raichu just is like quite a bit more. But yeah, we have a low point of right now being $66 down from $98. So that's not too horrible. And the PSA 10, you see the same kind of thing. Wow, came down from $663 in a PSA 10 online. Okay, so we're looking at Obsidian Flame. Let's take a look at the booster box really fast. $117.93 with shipping. Over the last year, we had a start point. Wow, this one's been all over the place. We had a start point of 109, a low point of 97 in the current, about 117. This one's kind of been all over the place a little bit. Let's take a look at the top cards in here. Some of this top stuff. Wow, really not that great. I would have, when this set came out, if you would have asked me, would this be a good set to buy? I would have said yes. Yes, this is a great set to buy. But I was wrong, and it just goes to show that anyone telling you like, this is it, this is the sauce, for making money with Pokemon, most likely is selling you something, Not always. There's some people that really do know what they're talking about and really do want to give out good information. But very few people really actually know, what's going to happen in the future with some of this stuff. And just trusting your gut, it doesn't always work out. This set, I would have thought it would have done better than this, but it has not done great. Let's switch over to the Excel sheet really quick. Yeah, and you can see it really here. This is the worst set so far that we've looked at. You've got 0 over 50. You've got 1 card that breaks over the $20 mark in a raw grade. And then you have only 4 and a 10. I mean, look at the other sets comparatively. Now I will say the PSA 10s of the top 2 cards here are, they're better than base. So that's kind of interesting that the only good cards in here happen to be even better than the best ones in base, at least from PSA 10. But these sets are a little bit newer, so a year from now, what are these prices going to be like? You might want to go take the set that came out about this time a year ago. Look at what the cards that were in a PSA 10 for Mint are at right now. Maybe we'll do that at the end of this. Maybe we'll do a comparative between one of them. We'll see. But yeah, let's jump over. Let's look at each of the cards. The top one, Charizard, figure that. We're looking at about $40 in the raw market. Over the year, wow, it came out about 101, and we're down at the low point right now at $38. This card has kind of taken a decline. Let's look at the other Charizard. Kind of the same thing here, came out around $16, and we're at the low point now at 15. I like this art though, not gonna lie. And then the Ninetales, which this one is the coolest art out of all 3 of these. This one should be number 1. If it wasn't against a Charizard, I think this one would be the best one in the set here. But yeah, the Ninetales came out around $12 raw, and we're sitting about $9.60, coming down off of about $11 point half a month ago. This card's done better than a lot of the other ones in this set. And we will see that as we switch over and look at the PSA 10s. So PSA 10 of this Charizard started out at $547. We are all the way down at $219, about a 50% loss on there, more than a 50% loss. Yeah, let's take a look at the next one. So yeah, the Ninetales actually beats out the secondary Charizard in this set, even though the raw card is less than the other Charizard. This, for people that like to do PSA grading, this might be a good example of a card to do that with, especially if you have a bunch of other ones, you can get it into a bulk lot. Then, if you graded a 10 in this, you only paid $10 to get it, $20, $25 to get it graded, and you get it back in a 10 in 90 days. If the price holds, which I can't predict the future, but out of all three of these cards, I would say this one has the strongest curve of actually maintaining value. You know, you look at this Charizard, we look at this Charizard, they're just kind of a downward slope, but this one has had upward growth. Yeah, that might be, I might be looking at getting a couple of these cards, to be honest. That might be a little side project. Okay, we're jumping right into 151. This is the first specialty set here. And this one has done really strongly, to be honest. It's one of my favorite sets in Scarlet and Violet era so far. 151 is really solid. It's been one I've really enjoyed opening, one I've really enjoyed keeping sealed product of, and it's performed pretty solidly. You know, you can just look through some of these cards and see that, you know, is there a ton of them over $100 in the raw? No, there's one. But you have just a solid wall of not only well-priced sealed product to hold on to, but some really good full art, you know. Okay, let's take a look at the Excel sheet really fast. So we have one card over $50 in raw, we have 11 over 20, and we have 24 over 10. And this was that wall I was talking about. And you can kind of see this is the strongest set we've looked at since Paldea Evolved. Paldea Evolved was strong, but this one's even stronger. And let's take a look at those top three cards for this one. We've got the Charizard EX. This one's $100 shipped. It's had some okay value. It came out about 100, never mind. It has lost some value. $112 it came out. It peaked at 121, and we are right at $100 flat in the raw for it. Let's go on to the next one, the Blastoise EX. This one's about $70, $71. When it came out, we were at $50 when it started, a peak of $56, and we are currently right there at $47 in the raw for the Blastoise. The Venusaur EX, we were $40 in the raw for this. Over the last year, we started at $37, peaked about $43, and then yeah, we're about at $40 for this right now. Let's look at the PSA 10s of each of these. The Charizard, yep, right up there, about $330. This is a well-valued card. Any of the full art, all art Charizard stuff seems to do really well. I think everybody knows why. It's a fan favorite. This one's no different, but it has lost right at 50% value from its peak. So I wouldn't have wanted to buy or invest in this, you know, when it came out, and we will see as the value of it goes on with new sets coming out. On to the Blastoise. We're looking about $151 in the PSA 10. When we came out, we were at our peak at $306, and yeah, right about a 50% loss on the Blastoise as well. The Venusaur started off at $238 in a PSA 10, peaked at $279, and we are currently sitting about $150. So this is gonna be the second ranked one, not the Blastoise. That's my bad, guys. But yeah, 151, really cool set. I think this is one to definitely keep everyone to keep their eyes on. It's a cool set. Okay, so we're jumping right into the booster box of Paradox Rift. This one's at about $100 still. From the year back, we are looking at an intro price of $132, coming down to a $101. This one's not performed very well. And this one, this is what another one I would have thought would have done well. I really like the Paradox Pokemon, but I think so the thing that's pulling this one down is that you have kind of really cooler Paradox Pokemon in the next set up. So I think more people are looking at that one if those are cards that they're really interested in getting or grading. So yeah, let's take a look at the products that are available. Yeah, not super strong here. I actually pulled one of these Groudons. Well, I did. My wife pulled one of these Groudons because she just has crazy luck like that. Really cool card. That one actually just sold, and we converted that into some cool PSA 10s that are on the way. Just wait, that's gonna be a cool video coming up. But yeah, this set's not done as well as I thought it would have, but I guess really upon looking at it more, there's really not that much to it. You kind of just have these two cards and that's it. Let's move right into the Excel sheet. This one really mirrors Paldea evolved like almost exactly. The only difference is there's one more in the over $10 card category. But yeah, so for cards over 50, we have 2. Cards over 20, we have 6. And cards over 10, we have 19. Almost the exact same as Paldea evolved. But what's different is the PSA 10 pricing of the different cards. So let's take a look at those. Starting with the Groudon, because this is our number 1. We came from about 166 in the PSA 10 up to 200 with a peak of 238. So it's come down a little bit off of the peak. But this is a really cool card. This is the one out of this set that I think is actually going to last. And we'll see if it lasts. There are a lot of cool cards coming up, a lot of cool sets coming up. And that's the thing, is you never really know what's going to happen with these. Really cool card though. I really liked looking at it while I had it. And I hope that the new owner very much enjoys it, gets it graded, and I hope it grades out well for them. So the number 2 card is going to be Roaring Moon. I remember when Roaring Moon first came out, I thought that was just the coolest thing to get to see Ancient and Future Pokemon, because I remember being a kid and the fossil Pokemon were just so cool to me back then. But yeah, we started out at, wow, almost $600, 573 in a PSA 10. We've come down to 183. Wow, that is significant. That's a pretty big drop. Yeah, cool card, but I still think the Groudon is a stronger card than that one. And then our number 3 is going to be Altaria EX. This card came out around 200 in a PSA 10, and we're sitting about 136 right now. This is a cool art, but again, the Groudon's the one. That's the move here. On to the next set. I really love the Mew in this set. Obviously, there's no booster box here, so we're just gonna kind of jump right into the cards. You can see that a lot of the sealed product and all the cards, everything's doing pretty solid in this set. I would say it's not as good as 151, but this set is still doing pretty good on all of it. Product pricing, it looks like. Let's take a look at the Excel sheet really fast. Yeah, this one is not super strong in the numbers if you look at it comparatively, really. Yeah, it's kind of one of the weaker sets. Not the weakest by far, but bottom 3 so far. As far as like cards that people are actually, opening packs trying to get. It's not as strong as you would think it would based on the pack price. I think a lot of it with this set is people love shinies. And so people want to chase shinies, and it's kind of inflating the price of this. The Mew in a PSA 10 you could see is going pretty well. And let's take a look at that Mew. It's a really cool card, just really cool card. Shiny Mew is always awesome. You're at about $80 just in the raw card. Over the last year, we saw it come out about 74, 75, and it went all over the place. Well, not all over, but into the 70s, down to 69, and then we're back up around 75 now. Let's take a look at the Gardevoir. 59 in the raw. Over the year, this one's come down quite a ways. We came up off of a 68 high into a low of $46, and we're right off of that low at 48 right now. Really cool card though. And then last but not least in the raw prices is the Pikachu, the shiny Pikachu. We're at $36 in the raw here. And this one, at least in the raw prices, has a little bit of a bell curve to it. It's come up, but not the bell curve you want, the other one. It's come up and then ridden right back down almost to where it started, right about where it started. It started at 31, had a low of 26, and we're at 31 now, right about where it started at. But if we come over here to the PSA 10s, we can see it's a little bit different. The Mew, we're seeing about 261 with a high of 405 right about launch. Not too bad of a loss really comparatively, but this set's still really new. Over to the Gardevoir, we're at a high of 250. We're currently at 146. So yeah, not too horrible of a loss, especially like comparatively to some of the other sets we've already looked at. This isn't that bad. And then the Pikachu. The Pikachu is, I have a feeling we could look at this graph a year from now and it's gonna be very similar to what it is right now. This is just a cool card, it's a cool art, it's not super complex, it's simple, but it's good. And it's a shiny Pikachu. I mean, Pikachu's definitely up there with the fan favorites. And we started out at PSA 10, sorry. Yeah. Started out about 149, and we've seen just a steady, not growth really, it's come down a little bit, but it hasn't come down nearly as much as the other two. This one is solid. Okay, we're on to Temporal Forces, guys. This is a really cool set. Jump right into the booster box. Still about $100. Since launch, we've seen, yeah, it was way up at 141, and it's come all the way down to $100. This one has some cool cards though. I really like the Paradox Pokemon on this one. This would be one I am highly considering maybe picking up some booster boxes, especially since you don't have to worry about so much with the CT scanning with the new stuff until it goes way up in value or they come way down on the price on the ability to do it. So this is a sealed product I would definitely be looking into getting alongside 151. Yeah, the price on here just has not done great. It's really at a low point. But when we come and jump and look over at some of the other sealed stuff, as well as some of the cards, they're doing okay. They don't have any really super heavy hitters, but you kind of see the three legendary cats, dogs, whatever you want to call them, being sold on eBay for some pretty good prices. I'm not going to look at those prices today. We're kind of just sticking to what we're sticking to. But yeah, let's jump over to the Excel sheet. So this is a pretty strong set, I would say overall. You know, comparing it to 151, it's a little bit off on the lower end, but other than that, I would say this is one of our stronger sets. We have one card over 50. We have 10 cards over 20. That's pretty good. I mean, that's a lot of like mid-grade, medium level chases to be in there. And then 15 total cards over 10. Yeah, let's jump over to our top three. This is going to be our Raging Bolt EX. Really, really cool card. All three of the legendary cat dogs are amazing. I love them. This is some really cool direction I think the company has taken things into, and we don't have a full year of data here yet on these cards because this set's still pretty new. But we have a starting point of about 52, a low of 49, and we are currently around 78. Peaked at 99. Wow, over at 100 for a minute there. Yeah, they were going to see a reflection of that in the PSA price. We have Iron Crown as our number 2. This one is 68. It started out right about a $55 card with a peak at 95, a low point of 55, and we're currently sitting around 63. Walking Wake, another really, really cool card art. I can't describe how much I like these cards. If they come down, I will definitely be picking them up. I just think they are a little high right now. I don't know if this set's going to hold its value because there's just so many cool things coming out. There's so many new shiny things to be looking at. So yeah, we started out about $41. We had a peak of 56, a low point of 37, and we're currently sitting about 46. Really cool cards. Let's jump into the PSA 10s of them. We have our Raging Bolt sitting about $200. It started at about $324, and we are at the low point currently. It is in decline, heading towards a 50% decline. On to Iron Crown. We're seeing kind of a similar trend here, starting at about $400. And we're at 137, more than a 50% loss. Yeah, this not great. Walking Wake, kind of the same deal. 254, came up for a little bit, and now it's coasting down. About 140. Yep, headed to a 50% loss. So yeah, just be careful. Be careful buying stuff, especially PSA 10s of new sets. You really want to let that stuff get out of print to where you don't have to worry about new cards. I mean, you're always gonna have new cards coming into circulation because you can see there's still base set stuff that's sealed. It just becomes more and more cost prohibitive to open it, and so therefore you see less and less cards coming into the PSA 10 population the more years consecutively you get out of print. And this, I feel like these cards, and I like, I'm just gonna pull it up really fast. I like the Gouging Fire the best out of all of these, but it is not doing that well on price. It's had a big big fad boom, and it looks like it's really coming down off of that. But I think this card is super cool. One of my local card shops has one of them for sale for like 150 something bucks. It's a cool shop and cool people, but I just can't bring myself to pay that price because I just know it's gonna, well, I feel it is going to taper off and continue to go down in value. Okay, so we're on to our last set. We're not gonna do the most modern one because I feel it's too new. It's too hyped up right now. We're not gonna be able to get an accurate view on it. And really even this set is still so new that I'm not sure if what we're gonna see on here comparatively is really accurate. You know, I mean, really all of these sets are still really new, but you know, taking information and trends that you can see from the last series, you know, Sword and Shield, or even Sun and Moon, or even X and Y, you know, things do sometimes tend to follow similar trends. So we're not going to do the last set. We're just going to do this one and end on that. So on to Twilight Masquerade. The booster box right now is about $120, $121. Since it came out, you always see them come out, you know, well 140-ish, 132 at a height, low point of 101, and it's come back up to 121. I think a lot of that's due just to the Greninja card in here. Let's take a look. Yeah, that Greninja way up there. You know, that card's going to cost you as much as almost as much as 10 Elite Trainer boxes, 2 booster boxes. You know, wow. I have to look up what the pull rate on this is. It must be pretty wild if that's still what it is. But yeah, just looking through some of the other stuff you see here are the trainer cards, but there's a lot of like medium grade chases in here. A lot with cool arts. I'm not a big fan of the gold cards, to be honest, but I do like the full art, all art stuff to an extent. Yeah, some cool stuff in here. Let's jump over to the Excel sheet. Comparatively here, we have 5 cards over 50, we have 11 cards over $20, and we have 19 over 10. I mean, let's just look across here. You know, there's only a couple of sets that even come close to stacking up to this one. 151 was kind of our top hitter before this one. Not in highest PSA, because highest PSA is right over here, where that Greninja right now is really up there. Cool art, it's a fan favorite Pokemon. It could stay up there. I would like to come back and look at that card price when Twilight Masquerade is as old as Paldea Evolved and compare it to the Magikarp, because you can see that Magikarp is still up there in price range. It's only about a $25 difference between the two of them in a PSA 10 right now. But Twilight Masquerade is still basically brand new. Yeah, let's go take a look over at our top cards. Of course, the first one's going to be that Greninja, $250 in the raw. Since it came out, it was $118 right at opening and has just gone up, you know, almost threefold from where it started. The other 2 cards we're going to be looking at are trainer cards. As I've said, I'm not huge into these, so we're just gonna kind of roll through them. Yeah, you know, I don't see these lasting. I feel like this was, yeah, still gathering price data. I feel like these are very overplayed. But yeah, let's get to the PSA 10 pricing. That Greninja is over $600 right now, and it started, the first one sold for $532. What's on here? We're up at $625. Yeah, I mean, when was the first one sold? Can I see? Yeah, June. So really not that long ago. We'll really have to see if this one holds its value over time. You can see a couple of sales. There's a couple of low ones in here though, mixed into the bunch. But yeah, still a really pricey card. And then our 2 trainer cards started at $333. We're down at $215 for Carmine. And for Perrin, same thing, $375 on the first one, and then $148 where we are currently. Yeah, over a 50% loss. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. We're gonna swing back over to the Excel sheet and just kind of take a look here for a second. You know, I think we can take a look at the data here, and some of these sets still need time to see what they're going to do really. But some of these first sets, you know, we can kind of see Paldea Evolved might really be a solid set to keep your eyes on. You know, Paldea Evolved and 151, those seem to be the top two, with Twilight Masquerade, you know, possibly if it holds some of its card pricing, which I don't think it will because two of those top cards are trainers. Yeah, I don't think it will. It could. I don't know everything, so we'll have to keep an eye on Twilight Masquerade. But for right now, Paldea Evolved and 151 are really solid sets in the current set era. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Andy with Mouse Out of the House. You guys have a lovely day.